Bonjour. First of all, thank you all for coming. I know that Heather and Christoph worked really hard to make this day very special, and they really appreciate everyone who's come, especially those of you who came from miles and miles away across the ocean. So thank you on behalf of my sister and new brother. So I thought we'd do a little time travel for my speech, and I'm going to go back to the early 80s. And it was the era of big hair, and MTV was pretty new. Atari, Stonewatch jeans, it was called. And at the time, my brother Alex over there, he was 9 years old. I was 10 years old. Okay, I'm going to try not to cry. This is really hard. And my parents, Leo and Linda, were balancing military life with raising a very young family. And for the longest time, it was just the four of us. And then my parents broke some pretty major and unexpected news. Very unexpected. They said they were pregnant. And I don't know how my brother felt, but I was shocked. This is like an 11-year age gap between me and my sister, but I was also very excited. We were all so excited. And it was a girl, obviously. And I remember the four of us were just tossing around baby names for a while, and we ultimately settled on the name Heather, or Heather in French. I wanted it to sound good in French. And it wasn't after anybody, Heather. And it wasn't after anyone famous or someone we knew. We just thought it was a beautiful name. And on April 7, 1984, my sister was born. So I know a lot of you didn't meet Heather until grade school or college or even sometime after that. So many of your fondest memories are from those times. But when I think back on my fondest memories of my sister, sorry, it starts much earlier than that. It starts when she's just a little baby. And so I figured I'd break it down, just what kind of little munchkin my sister was before you all met her. So Heather was a really happy baby. She left a smile and laugh. She had the cutest cheeks. And she still does, I agree. And she had the chunkiest legs and arms. I like to say so chunky it's feasible, and she still is. And then she started to talk and walk. And she had a sweet and friendly personality, and she loved being goofy and cracking jokes with my aunties and uncles and all my cousins. It's basically the Heather we all know today. I do remember that she had this crazy, funky, out-of-control hair, and in all of her baby pictures, as much as we tried, we could never get it under control. But it was pretty cool. So those are the fondest memories that I have of my sister that I wanted to share with everybody. Before many of you knew her. And some things never change. And so when I look back on Heather's life so far, a few turning points do stand out for me. One is when she decided to leave San Diego to go far away for college in San Francisco. And at the time I thought, well, I was living there, and of course she wants to be near her big sister. And but then I realized she really didn't need me very much. She's one of those social butterflies, which I know many of you know already. And just in a short period of time, she amassed this massive group of friends, and I mean massive. And it was pretty amazing. Yes. And Heather just has this gift for connecting with people, as many of you know. And so another turning point for me was 10 years later, when Heather decided to leave San Francisco and travel the world. And she was ready for a change, and she never told me exactly why she wanted to leave, but I think she just wanted to just learn more about herself and get out of her comfort zone and maybe even find herself. So that was her goal. It was her dream to travel the world, and she spent about the next 2 years working really hard at that goal. She worked multiple jobs. I worked in finance. She paired up with me and said, how do I pay off all my bills? And I helped her do that. Well, I didn't help her pay, but I helped her plan it. And she just worked her tail off, and she just made her dream happen. And she saved up like crazy. And at that time when I knew she was ready and she told me, it was this big, proud big sister moment for me to see that happen. So then, one more page. And then Heather was off. She hopped on a plane to Asia. She met Jin in Korea first. Was Jin over there? So my parents, my husband, and Jorge, we all went to SFO and we sent her off, and it was a really emotional moment. But it was also full of excitement and all this uncertainty. And I don't even think Heather knew what exactly she was getting herself into, but she was ready for just something different. And who knew at that moment how much her life would change? And now here we are. So Heather, as you all know by now, met Christophe in Myanmar on a bus. And it was a totally random encounter, but they hit it off. And at first she kept their budding relationship under wraps. Right? She kept calling Chris a friend. Like, who's this guy as a friend?
My buddy.
But Facebook does not lie. And we all watched their love unfold in the most picturesque places on earth. And as this protective older sister, I was like, who is this mysterious French guy who keeps yelling to around the world? So luckily, Facebook gave us an early glimpse into Chris's personality, and his very colorful personality. And obviously he's happy, silly, carefree, very artistic and creative, and very adventurous. And I was dying to meet him. So in November of 2013, my husband Jorge and I, we actually flew out and met them in Europe, first in Ireland, and then in Paris. And I found out that, yes, Chris is all of those things that you see on his Facebook profile, but he's also more. He's also thoughtful, caring, and very protective. And he's a social butterfly, just like my sister. And you can see in everything that Chris does, down to the smallest gestures, that just how much he loves Heather. And she's crazy for him too. So when we were there in Europe, I was like, oh my God, I've never seen my sister like this. I mean, they're just the perfect match. And I knew at that time that someday they would be married. And here we are. So Chris, on behalf of my parents, Leo and Linda, over there, and my brother Alex over there, we want to say thank you. Merci beaucoup. For taking such good care of my sister as we explore the world together, for keeping her safe, for teaching her French. Have you guys heard my sister teach French? It's like a whole other person. And the rest of the Wom family too. And most of all, for your commitment and love toward her. We love you, and we know you'll be the most wonderful husband that my sister Heather deserves. We also, again, on behalf of my family, we also want to thank Christophe's parents, Jojo, and Christine. Thank you. Thank you for welcoming Heather into your lives and for giving her a safe and loving home all the way across the ocean in Paris. And it's such a comfort to know that she's under such great care when she's in France with you. And I want to say to the entire Wom family, again on behalf of my family, including Chris's brothers, Francois, Edouard. Hi, Francois. Edouard, and David. I want to say welcome, bienvenue. Did I get that right, Heather? Okay. To the Salcedo family, and you will always have a place to stay the next time you're in California.
Yeah.
And so in closing, I want to say that I've had this big sister. Wow. No, I've had this big sister title all my life, and it's definitely an honor, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm sorry, Heather. You'll often hear younger siblings say that they look up to their older siblings, that they turn to them for advice, that they learn from them. And over the years, I've heard Heather say these things about me to me. But what I want Heather to know, what I want her to take away from this speech, more than anything, is that I look up to you too, Heather. And I've learned a lot from you too. And that it's an honor to be your big sister. It's an honor to be your big sister. And that I'm proud of you and I love you. And oh my God, I can't believe you're married. So, please lift up your glasses and do a toast to Heather and Christoph.